Hans Mommsen. Hans Mommsen, 5 November 1935, November 2015, was a German historian, known for his studies in German social history, and for his functionalist interpretation of the Third Reich, especially for arguing that Adolf Hitler was a weak dictator. Descended from Nobel Prize-winning historian Theodor Mommsen, he was a member of the Social Democratic Party of Germany. Life and career. Mommsen was born in Marburg, the child of the historian Wilhelm Mommsen and great-grandson of the historian of Rome Theodor Mommsen. He was the twin brother of historian Wolfgang Mommsen. He studied German, history and philosophy at the University of Heidelberg, the University of Tübingen, and the University of Marburg. Mommsen served as professor at Tübingen 1960–1961, Heidelberg 1963–1968, and at the University of Early work. Much of Mommsen's early work concerned the history of the German working class, both as an object of study itself and as a factor in the larger German society. Mommsen's 1979 book, Arbeiterbewegung und nationale Frage, the Labor Movement and the National Question, a collection of his essays written in the 1960s-70s, was the conclusion of his studies in German working-class history. Functionalism and the Weak Dictator thesis. The historic restraint. In the historic restraint debate about how to incorporate the Holocaust into German historiography, Mommsen argued that the Holocaust and fascist crimes could not be equated with Soviet crimes. Mommsen argued that the growth in pacifist feeling in the Federal Republic, as reflected in widespread public opposition to the American raid on Libya in April 1986, made it imperative for the Americans and the West German government promote a more nationalistic version of German history, and that was other historical work. Mommsen has written highly regarded books and essays on the fall of the Weimar Republic, blaming the downfall of the Republic on German conservatives. Like his brother Wolfgang, Mommsen was a champion of the Sonderweg special path interpretation of German history that sees the ways German society, culture, and politics developed in the 19th century as having made the emergence of Nazi Germany in the 20th century virtually inevitable. Another area of interest for Mommsen is dissent. The Goldhagen controversy. During the Goldhagen controversy of 1996, Mommsen emerged as one of Daniel Goldhagen's leading opponents, and often debated Goldhagen on German TV. Mommsen's friend, the British historian Sir Ian Kershaw, wrote he thought that Mommsen had destroyed Goldhagen during their debates over Goldhagen's book Hitler's Willing Executioners. Later work. In an August 2000 book review, Mommsen called Norman Finkelstein's book The Holocaust Industry a most trivial book, which appeals to easily aroused anti-Semitic prejudices. A major figure in Germany, Mommsen often took stands on the great issues of the day, believing that the responsibility for ensuring the mistakes of the past are never repeated rests upon an engaged and historically conscious citizenry. Mommsen saw it as the duty of the historian to constantly critique contemporary society. Work. Die Sozialdemokratie und die Nationalitätenfrage, Habsburgischen Zivilgesellschaft, Social Democracy, and the Nationalities Question in the Multi-Ethnic Habsburg Empire, 1963. Der Reichstagsbrand und seine politischen Folgen in Wirtschaftsgeschichte für Zeitgeschichte, Volume 12, 1964, pages 351–413. The Reichstag fire and its political consequences, being Tentam im Dritten Reich, mit ausgewählten Quellen zur nationalsozialistischen Beamtenpolitik, the institution of the civil service in the Third Reich, with selected sources on National Socialist Civil Service Policy, 1966. Industrielles System und politische Entwicklung in der Weimarer Republik, Industrialism, and political development of the Weimar Republic. Sozialdemokratie zwischen Klassenbewegung und Volkspartei, Social Democracy between Class Movement and Populist Party, edited by Hans Mommsen, 1974. National Socialism, Continuity and Change, pages 179-210. From Fascism, A Reader's Guide, Analyses, Interpretations, Bibliography, edited by Walter Laqueur, Berkeley, University of California Press, 1976. ISBN 0-523-033-8. Arbeiterbewegung und Industrieller Wandel. Studien zu gewerkschaftlichen Organisationsproblemen im Reich und in der Ruhr, Labor Movement and Industrial Change. Problems in Union Organizing in the Reich and the Ruhr, edited by Hans Mommsen, 1978. Klassenkampf oder Mitbestimmung. Some Problem der Kontrollwirtschaftlicher Macht in der Weimarer Republik, Class Struggle or Co-Determination. Issues in Controlling Economic Influence in the Weimar Republic, 1978. Arbeiterbewegung und Nationale Frage, Ostgewalt Aufsätze, the Labor Movement and the National Question, Selected Essays, 1979. Glück auf, Kameraden, Die Bergarbeiter und ihre Organisationen in Deutschland. Good Luck, Comrades, Miners and Their Organizations in Germany, co-edited with Ulrich Borstorff, 1979. Vom Elend der Handarbeit, Problem historischer Unterstützungsforschung concerning the misery of piecework, Problems in conducting historical research about the underclass, co-edited with Winfried Schulz, 1981. Politik und Gesellschaft im Alten und Neuen Österreich, Festschrift für Rodolf Neck, 60. Geburtstag, Politics and Society in the Old and New Austria, Festschrift für Rudolf Neck on the occasion of his 60th birthday, co-edited with Isabella Acker and Walter Hummelberger, 1981. Auf der Such nach historischer Normalität, Beiträge zum Geschichtswildstreit in der Bundesrepublik in Search of Historical Normalcy, 1987. Herrschaftsalltag im Dritten Reich, Studien und Text, Everyday Rule in the Third Reich, Studies and Texts, co-edited with Suzanne Willems, 1988. Die Freiheit, Der Weg der Republik von Weimar in den Untergang, 1918 bis 1933, 1989, translated into English by Elborg Forster and Larry Eugene Jones as The Rise and Fall of Weimar Democracy, Chapel Hill, University of North Carolina Press, 1996. ISBN 0-8078-2249-3. Reappraisal and Repression, The Third Reich in West German Historical Consciousness, pages 173-184, from Reworking the Past, edited by Peter Baldwin, Beacon Press, Boston, 1990. ISBN 0-8074-302-8. Der Nationalsozialismus und die Deutsche Gesellschaft, 1991. Translated by Philip O'Connor into English as From Weimar to Auschwitz, Princeton, N.J. Princeton University Press, 1991. ISBN 0-691-3198-3. The German Resistance Against Hitler and the Restoration of Politics. Journal of Modern History, Vol. 64, December 1992. A Search for the Lost History, Observations on the Historical Self-Evidence of the Federal Republic, pages 101-113, and the New Historical Consciousness, and the Relativizing of National Socialism, pages 114-124, from Forever in the Shadow of Hitler. Edited by Ernst Piper, Humanities Press, Atlantic Highlands, 1993, ISBN 0-391-3784-6. Reflections on the Position of Hitler and Göring in the Third Reich, pages 86-97, from Reevaluating the Third Reich, edited by Jane Kaplan and Thomas Childers, New York, 1993, ISBN 0-8000 419 Der Nationalsozialismus, Studien zur Ideologie und Herrschaft, Studies in National Socialist Ideology and Rule, co-edited with Wolfgang Benz and Hans Buchheim, 1993. Ungleich Nachbarn, Demokratische und Nationale Emanzipation bei Deutsch, Tschechen und Slowakian 1815–1914, Unequal Neighbors, Democratic and National Emancipation of the Germans, Czechs and Slovaks 1815–1914, co-edited with Jiří Korálka, 1993. Adolf Hitler und der 9. November 1923, Adolf Hitler and 9 November 1923, from der 9. November 5 Essays zur deutschen Geschichte, 1994. Widerstand und politische Culture in Deutschland und Österreich, Resistance and Political Culture in Germany and Austria, 1994. Der Antisemitismus war ein Notwendige, aber keineswegs hinreichende Bedingung für den Holocaust in die Zeit, NR 36, 30 August 1996, translated into English as Conditions for Carrying Out the Holocaust. Comments on Daniel Goldhagen's book, pages 3143, from Hyping the Holocaust. Scholars answer. Goldhagen, edited by Franklin Littell, East Rockaway, NY, Cummings and Hathaway, 1997. ISBN Der Erste Weltkrieg und die Europäische Nachkriegsordnung, Sozialer Wandel und Formveränderung der Politik, ed. by Hans Mommsen, 2000. Alternative zu Hitler, Studien zur Geschichte des Deutschen Widerstands, 2000, translated into English by Angus McGeoch as Alternatives to Hitler. German Resistance under the Third Reich. Princeton University Press, 2003, ISBN 0-691-11693-8. Von Weimar nach Auschwitz, zur Geschichte Deutschlands in der Weltkriegsepoche, 2001. The Third Reich Between Vision and Reality, New Perspectives on German History, 1918–1945, ed. by Hans Mommsen, 2001, ISBN 978-185973-254-0. Germans Against Hitler, The Stauffenberg Plot and Resistance under the Third Reich, translated into English by Angus McGeoch, London, I.B. Tauris, 2009, ISBN 184511-852-9. Das NS-Regime und die Auslöschung des Judentums in Europa, The Nazi Regime and the Extermination of the Jews in Europe, Göttingen. Wallstein Verlag, 2014, ISBN 978-38353-1395-8.